Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my office. This is Wes Rogers doing my informative speech. It's been a really busy time as we are prepping for a workshop coming up with Benji Schwimmer. For those of you who don't know who that is, he won the Fox television program So You Think You Can Dance a couple years back. And more notably, he is the 6-time winner, world champion of West Coast Swing Dancing. The reason I bring that up is it leads right into what my speech is about, is how to pick a good dance instructor. I've owned a studio for about 5 years. My girlfriend is national title holder. She's been teaching for over a decade and dancing for over 2. And through the last 5 years, I've seen both good instructors, bad instructors, and instructors that really don't have any business teaching. The reason it's so important to pick a good dance instructor is it can really make or break the experience and decide whether you keep dancing or not in the future. First thing to understand is just because somebody is a professional dance instructor does not necessarily mean that they have training and or the ability to teach. A professional is someone who just takes money for dance. Now, unfortunately, in the dance community, there can be challenging as far as figuring out who really knows what they're talking about and who's kind of more of just what I call a YouTube instructor, pulled a couple videos and is trying to attempt to teach that, which can be both detrimental to the student and then the dance community as a whole in general. One thing you should ask your instructor is, one, how long they have been dancing and how long they have been teaching. If they haven't been dancing or teaching for very long, that should be a red flag. One of the other things that I've found is asking if they are doing any competitions. Now, while you might not be interested in doing competitions yourself, you might just be interested in learning to social dance, or you might be interested to learn how to do a wedding. The reason asking if they do any social dancing is good is because as a social competitor, you need to be constantly learning and growing and taking training from instructors that are a higher level from you, learning new techniques and learning the next level of dance. There are some talents and skills that as a beginning dancer, you just aren't privy to because you're not aware of that type of level. However, as a instructor and working forward, there are next levels that you should be aware of, you should know, and you should be relaying to your students. And that's where having a higher level competitor and somebody who has a higher level coach will really be advantageous to you as a student, because they'll know how to get you to the next step and might be able to see different ways that help your learning and help you grasp the concept. That being said, you also want to ask who their coach is. That can be kind of a tattletale sign of, while you as a beginning student won't know who that is, you can do your research, find out where they are coming from, and go from there. My girlfriend, her coach, actually travels around the world and is a world-renowned coach. So whenever she does any coaching, that next level really gets passed on to the students. So a lot of times her students are learning more advanced techniques, but it's been broken down in a very simple way, so they're able to learn quicker and actually look like they've been dancing much longer than somebody who hasn't reached that same level or just hasn't been exposed to that level of coaching. One of the other things that I found is that independent instructors are the ideal choice. Not saying that a franchise school doesn't have great instruction, just my experience has been that as an independent instructor, you are required to know your stuff, have a certain level of professionalism, and reached a level that most studios can't afford just because you've reached a certain level. A national or a world champion, to be able to pay them a salary just is not within the budgets of a franchise type setup. So as a general rule of thumb, an independent instructor is a good way to go. That being said, an independent instructor could also be somebody from YouTube who just started or is not really aware of the technique, and they're just trying to pass off as if they know a little bit more than you, and since you don't know any difference, you just assume that they're good at what they do. So it's just something to be careful, whether it's a social dancer trying to teach or if it's an actual instructor. And then also, bottom line, dancing should be fun. If you're not enjoying yourself, if it's not a fun experience, if when you go into the ballroom or wherever you're learning to dance, there's not a bunch of people smiling, having a good time, that should be a really big red flag. Bottom line, you dance to have fun and enjoy yourself. And if it's not fun, well, then you should probably think about possibly looking elsewhere. Anyways, the bottom line, take the time to research your instructor, look for an independent instructor, and also seek to see if they have any championship titles. Now, it's not a catch-all, but it's a good place to start. Hope you enjoyed my speech and look forward to our next one. Thanks.